There is no place quite like Tennessee. From the muddy waters of the west to the mountain peaks in the east, no other state provides as many fascinating and widely varied opportunities to enjoy nature and the outdoors. But with that privilege comes responsibility, an obligation to look after the wild lands and wild creatures across our state.
When God made this earth, He put certain kinds of animals and humans on the earth. He put them together in certain quantities, and He designed them to do certain things, to gather their food in a certain manner, and to react with other wildlife in a certain manner. If we ignore that and don't conserve some of the animals that we have, it's going to affect how we live our lives.
It wasn't all that long ago that conservation just kind of happened. Landowners did it on their own. There was no real statewide vision for preserving land and nature, and hunting and fishing, honestly, were not nearly as good in Tennessee as they are now.
If you wanted to go deer hunting, you went to Benton County. That was about the only place in the state that had decent deer population. If you wanted to turkey hunt, you went to Shelby County to the Mississippi River bottoms, because that's where all the turkey hunting was. As you can see now, we've got a world of turkeys everywhere and deer everywhere.
Tony Campbell played a big part in making that happen. He was the first employee of the Tennessee Conservation League, what's known today as the Tennessee Wildlife Federation. And their mission is the same after all these years, bringing Tennesseans together to protect and conserve wildlife and natural resources.
In '72, there was a sportsman's club in just about every county or city across the state. There were hundreds of them. And they were all affiliated with the Conservation League, and we spoke as a representative of them, which made us politically pretty potent.
That political power came from a lot of reaching out to many different audiences.
We, at Tony Campbell's urging, went down to the legislature to talk to some of the legislators, predominantly black legislators, about laws that needed to be passed and why they were necessary.
The Nashville Sportsman's Club was one of those local clubs.
Nashville Sportsman's Club was founded in 1943 by a group of local black hunters and fishermen.
Mitchell Parks was an active member.
We'd fish from the bank, we'd fish from the lake, and we just had a great time.
Later, he joined the Wildlife Federation's board, and then the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Commission, bringing some badly needed diversity and a new perspective to the state's wildlife management. Mitchell Parks and Tony Campbell got to be good friends, even fishing buddies, but that does not mean they agreed on everything.
He and I used to have some real knockdown, drag-out arguments, and we'd only take a break to go eat, then we'd come back and argue some more. He won most of the arguments.
And those discussions about what should be done became part of some big changes in Tennessee's conservation world. The Federation's advice and support helped state legislators consider statewide issues, not just their own counties. And it led to a study which resulted in the State Wildlife Agency becoming more professional and changing its name from the Game and Fish Commission to the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency.
The law enforcement segment of the agency pretty well ran itself, and they were called then possum cops. So
a wildlife officer might be the guy who lost the last sheriff's race, or somebody who had a buddy who needed a job.
There were a lot of good people. The agency had a lot of good people in it, and it was just a matter of trying to get their priorities right. They brought in new leadership, new director and assistant director, and slowly but surely over time really got a lot accomplished.
They can look back on some major achievements, real contributions to preserving and protecting Tennessee's outdoors, including their work in creation of a wetlands acquisition fund.
Tens of thousands of acres of wetlands across Tennessee have been purchased through that and protected.
Tony Campbell and Mitchell Parks were really trailblazers in the field of conservation policy in Tennessee. Before them, there was nobody dedicated to that task.
It took hours and hours of wrangling and of sitting through a lot of meetings and a lot of on-the-ground things that had to be done to pave the way to make sure that those programs did in fact last into the next century. And my grandkids and their kids will all be thankful that somebody had the foresight and the vision to pull those things together.
We don't seem to be scheduling as many hunts as we did in the past.
You're getting older.
Mitchell Parks and Tony Campbell have both slowed down some, but they have never lost their love of the outdoors, even if it's just a little fishing off the bank.
This is the way to do things.
The woods are full of game, and public support has never been stronger. There is a statewide purpose and a statewide direction, and it all goes back to the hard work and clear vision of many dedicated Tennesseans, including 2 who say they don't have to catch a fish every time they go. They just like to be outside.
Around the Tennessee Wildlife Federation, we often say that we're standing on the shoulders of giants and legends that came before, and those 2 guys are specifically who we're talking about. They absolutely set the bar for conservation policy in Tennessee.
I'm Craig Owensby on The Wild Side.